Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's case I'm going to be talking to you about is the Donnah Winger case. So it was the 29th of August 1995 and this was a Tuesday. Mark Winger called 911 at 4:27 p.m. to report that there was a man, quote, that was killing his wife. Mark had told the dispatcher that he shot the man. Mark lived in Springfield, Illinois in the United States with his 31-year-old wife, Donnah Winger. When the police arrived at the scene, they had found that Donnah was in a very critical state. She had been hit 7 times in the head, and this was with a hammer. A man who police identified as a 27-year-old Roger Harrington was in a critical state on the ground that was beside of Donnah. He had suffered 2 gunshot wounds, and then this was to his head. They were both rushed to the hospital. Roger had died suddenly after shortly arriving at the hospital, and Donnah died a few minutes later, having never regained consciousness. The police had then sealed off the house. There was no signs of any forced entry, a visibility of a distressed Mark. And this was told by the police that he had shot the man. And this was because he saw him attacking his wife, Donnah. Mark had told the police that he was in the basement on the treadmill and heard some noises upstairs. So this is when he had gone upstairs and he went to take a look. And then there he had saw that the adopted baby Bailey was on the bed, and in the master bedroom there was no sign of Donnah. And when Mark then heard more noises downstairs, he went and took a look. So he had gone and taken his handgun, and this was from the nightstand in the bedroom. And then he had walked towards the dining room. And according to Mark, he saw a man that was swinging a hammer at Donnah. And this was in the hallway. Mark had shot this man, and when the man had tried to get up from the ground, Mark had then shot him for the second time. Police had found that the hammer that was used that bludgeoned Donnah, it was covered in a lot of blood. The hammer had belonged to Mark and also Donnah. They found a .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun in the house. The handgun then belonged to Mark and Donnah, and it is confirmed to the police that he was using to shoot the man with. Mark then had asked the police if they knew who this man was that had gone and attacked his wife. They didn't tell him the man's name, and Mark asked them if it was a man called Roger. Mark had said, "That's the man who has been harassing my wife all of this week." According to Mark, Donnah went to visit her parents in Florida 6 days earlier, and Donnah's mother had dropped her off. And this was at the airport, and had hired a driver. And this was via a limousine company to pick her up in St. Louis in Missouri, and the driver to drive back to Springfield. And she then had found him to be quite flirtatious, as he had told her that he liked an older woman and had invited her to sex parties. The conversations became more and more sinister when he had told her that he kept hearing a voice in his head named Dame. Dame would tell him to hurt people. Mark had told the police the guy had scared her. She said that he was very frightening. He said things about killing people, setting car bombs, mutilating people. Donnah was relieved when she had got back to Springfield and had told her family that she was actually frightened and that the conversation was very alarming, and the driver had been very erratic as well. Marka told the police that even though Donnah had made it home safely, that there wasn't the end to that matter. She received a number of strange phone calls, and due to the timing of them, she believed that it was Roger that was the person that was making these phone calls. And they had found a note then describing Donnah's car ride in the house. Mark also then had told the police that he reported the matter to the limousine company where Roger worked, and he was suspended, and that may have escalated to what had happened. Police then had found Roger's car parked outside the Wingers' house. It was facing in the wrong direction, and they had found a number of weapons inside it, such as a knife, a tire iron, and also the police believe that Mark should not face any charges as he acted upon self-defense, and then the case had then been closed. As they felt that he had already suffered enough, Mark seemed to be completely devastated. He moved to Springfield with Donnah straight after their wedding for work, and they was very happy there. And Donnah had worked at the Memorial Medical Center, and this was as a operating room technician. And he worked as an engineer for the Illinois Department of Nuclear Safety. Things weren't always easy for the couple, but when Donnah had then discovered she could not get pregnant, she was very distraught. That had changed then when a doctor who had gone and worked with Donnah told her that a teenager had wanted to put her baby up for adoption. And then the doctor asked if Donnah would be of interest. She was, and Mark wanted the baby too, and they welcomed this newborn baby called Bailey into their home on the 1st of June 1995. After Donnah's death, Mark still had Bailey, who was just only a few months old, to care for, so he remained in the same house, but also then had helped to hire a nanny, and this was called Rebecca Simic, and this was to help. And then just a few months after then moving in, Rebecca then had discovered that she was pregnant, and this was with the baby of Mark, who they had named Anna. And then Mark had later married Rebecca, and just over a year later, after Donnah's death, Mark had gone and sold the house and had cut ties with all of Donnah's family. He moved out of town to a new house, and this was with Rebecca and the children. They later went on to having another 2 children that was named Maggie and Ben in 1999. Donnah's close friend then, Deanne Schultz, had told the police that she had an affair with Mark when Donnah was alive, and there was something that he said that still bothers her to this day. According to Deanne, Mark had said, quote, "It would be easier for us to be together if Donnah just died. All you have to do is come in and find the body." She also told them something which concerned them very greatly. When Mark found out about Donnah's bad experience with this car company that was going back to Springfield, he had then told Deanne that he had to get this driver into his house. That prompted the police to look at Donnah's case once more, but they discovered, much to their dismay, that some of the evidence remarkably was gone. Mark filed a lawsuit against Bart, the transportation, as he wanted to hold that company accountable for Donnah's death due to Roger's actions. Roger was the employee and at this time of Donnah's death. And due to that, his attorney then asked for the evidence and files to be released then to their care so that they could use it for a civil lawsuit. Despite that the police had access to some of the files and they tend to look at the photos that were taken on that day, there were some photos of Donnah and Roger on the ground before they were actually taken to the hospital. But the position in where the bodies were lying didn't seem to actually match with what Mark had told them years prior. And at the time, Mark had told them that Roger was kneeling down right next to Donnah's body and then by her head, hitting her with a hammer. And then when he saw him, and that was when he had gone and shot him. According to Mark, he then fell back, and when he tried to get up, he had gone and shot him a second time, and his feet should have been near where Donnah's head was actually. And then he should have been opposite her, but according to these photos, they were taken when the police had arrived. Both Roger and Donnah were on the ground and actually facing the same direction, and the police for the first time began to suspect that Mark was actually involved in his own wife's murder. But that didn't explain why Roger was at their house on that day around the same time. The civil lawsuit that Mark was involved in provided a possible explanation, but Transportation hired a blood spatter expert, and they believed that the blood spatter showed that Mark killed both Donnah and Roger. As police investigated further, they found more incriminating evidence. Roger's roommate, Susan Collins, told the police that Roger arranged to go and meet someone the day that he had been killed. The police found a note that was written on the bank deposit slip inside of his car. The note had Mark's name on it, along with his address and a time. Susan told the police that Roger told her that he agreed to meet Mark to sort some things out, as Mark had complained to his boss about his driving and the discussion that he had with Donnah. He then left the house at 3:30 p.m. The police had then believed that Mark asked him to meet at his house at 4:30 p.m. and the time written on the note in Roger's card was 4:30 p.m. also. Mark had then been arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder on the 23rd of August 2001. It was then the prosecution case that Mark had killed Donnah and Roger. It was the case that Mark wanted Donnah out of his life, but didn't want to lose custody of their adopted baby, Bailey, so did not want to divorce her. It was their case that he saw an opportunity to do so when Mark had heard about the trouble that Donnah had with Roger. He thought it was the perfect opportunity to kill Donnah and to frame an innocent man. The prosecution believed that Mark contacted Roger. They had never met before that day, and asked him to meet him at the house, and when he had got there, he let him inside and also then shot him dead. The court heard there was no sign of any forced entry into the home. It was their case that Donnah was in a master bedroom at the time with Bailey and heard the gunshot. And when she had gone downstairs, Mark then had gone and hit her to death. And this was with a hammer, and then called 911. To prove that Mark had lured Roger to their house, the jury had said then about the note that was found in Roger's car that had Mark's name and his address on it. The jury heard that Roger had weapons in his car, but didn't bring them inside the house and instead attacked Donnah with her own hammer. Then questioned why he would do that if he went there that day to attack Donnah. The court also heard then about the account that Mark gave the police about where Roger was, when he shot him, and then they saw the photos that was taken that same day that suggested that wasn't actually the case. Deanne testified and the court heard about all of these statements that she alleged Mark made that he wanted Donnah dead. The court heard that the 4 days before the murders on the 25th of August 1995, Mark asked his co-worker Candice Bolden what would happen to his adopted daughter if Donnah had died. Later that same day, Mark called the president of the transport company where Roger had then worked. Ray Duffy had then complained about Donnah's ride. He called again then to ask for the driver's full name and if he could discuss the matter directly with him. The court heard about the injuries that Donnah and Roger sustained when the police then had arrived at this house. They found Donnah then lying face down on the floor and Roger was on his back. It was determined then that Donnah died as a result of a brain trauma. This was due to multiple blunt force injuries, and this was to her head, that were very consistent with a hammer strike. Roger had then died due to a gunshot wound to the top left side of his head that was above his left eyebrow, and his chest then had some contusions, and that was caused by the hammer strikes. The defence then had claimed that there were erratic decisions that was taken that day, from the weapon used to how his car was actually parked, indicated that Roger was mentally unwell, and they argued that evident from the car ride with Donnah. In relation to the position of the bodies and the photos, the defence then had argued that while Donnah and Roger were critical, when paramedics arrived, they weren't dead, and the paramedics may have moved them when trying to save their lives. Paramedics denied moving them prior to the photos being taken, and Mark didn't give a testimony at his trial. In relation then to Deanne's testimony, the defence argued that she was nothing more than a woman scorned. She had then been having an affair with Mark. Mark admitted that, but as soon as Donnah died, he moved on with a nanny that he had hired, married her a very short time later, and the defence argued that Deanne was furious that she wasn't the person he chose to marry. The jury found Mark guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. This was without the possibility of parole. And then in 2005, while still incarcerated for the first-degree murder convictions, Mark was implicated in a murder-for-hire plot, and that was subsequently foiled. It was alleged that he had tried to put a hit on Deanne for testifying against him and Jeffrey Gelman, a childhood friend, for not posting his $1 million bail. 19 pages of handwritten notes were found outlining what Mark wanted to happen to Deanne. He wanted her to be kidnapped and forced to write down a statement saying that she lied about Mark and that she now believes that he is actually an innocent man. The notes outlined that he wanted her to be killed after the statement was written. Mark told the jury that the notes were outlined as a fantasy that he never planned on carrying out. He was found guilty of solicitation of murder and sentenced to an additional 35 years in prison. Donnah's mother, Sarah Jane, and Donnah's stepfather, Ira Drescher, had then gone and told the CBS that they were overwhelmed by all the evidence against Mark. Quote, "And what's so hard to understand is the way he murdered Donnah. It was so vicious and so violent. Mark maintains his innocence. Deanne was granted immunity for her testimony, and as a result of that, she faced no charges. Okay then everyone, so that is today's case. I hope you all enjoyed. If so, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I see you all again next time. Take care. Bye bye.